In this video, we're going to talk about how to manage your doors. Now, this is a new concept since last time we had a training for Airfob Space, so I want to explain this very carefully. Doors are how you organize your readers, and you can think of it as the exact same way that you would organize your doors in a physical space. So, for example, you may have a door with a reader on the outside and a reader on the inside. This is very common when you have a situation where you have mandatory TNA and you need people to check in and check out so you can record when they're in the building. It's also very common when you're trying to do things like fire muster, or the local fire code requires you to know exactly who's in a space at a given time. The view you're seeing on your screen now is our registered doors screen, and you find it under door management. If you look at this chart, you will see that you have the name of each door, the entry device registered, the exit device registered, the camera registered, this is something new, the door group, and the description if you have set these parameters. If you select a specific door, you have icons that become active at the top, edit, refresh to get a clean view of what's registered and what's not, delete, schedule settings, and manage groups. Before I get to applying schedules and managing groups, let me show you what happens when you click on one of the doors. At the top, you see the name of the door, front door. Couldn't be simpler, right? You can also give it a description. So you could say, for example, what is the exact location of that door? It's on 18th Street. Below this, you have the devices that are assigned to a door. You have an entry device, an exit device, and a camera. And let me explain all of these. The reason that you can have an entry device and an exit device is so that, for example, if you have a TNA situation where you need to have clock in and clock out, or your local fire code requires you to know exactly who's in a building, you can always have people using their phones or cards to go in and out of the building so you have an accurate count. Currently, the entry device is set as a Suprema X Station 2. We support this device primarily for TNA purposes, but it will also, of course, open the door as well. And an exit device, which is the Airfob Edge Reader Ultimate. Now, a very important point here. When you have an entry device and an exit device, you only need to use the relay on one of the devices to go to the EM lock or the strike on the door. This is very important because if you try to wire both devices in parallel, then the door will not open. So we recommend using either the entry device or the exit device only, and then you can select the relay on the device that you would like to use to open the door. The way that this works is, for example, in this case, the X Station 2's relay will be opening the door. So if you authenticate on the Airfob Edge Reader instead, then the Airfob Edge Reader will send a signal to the cloud, to Airfob Space in the cloud, and then back down to the X Station 2 to use its relay to open the door. Now, there's no delay on this. It is instantaneous, and we use this method in our office at Mocha System every day. So it's a proven method, and we use it quite regularly. What this also allows you to do is something very cool, because you can use something like the Airfob patch battery, which doesn't have a relay at all, but does have a battery and can authenticate mobile credentials. You can use this as an exit device when you have another entry device assigned, as long as that entry device has a relay on it, or vice versa. You can have the Airfob patch battery as the entry device on the door as well. Next down, we have a camera. Now, we recently introduced CCTV support in Airfob Space, and by selecting a camera here, any events that are logged for this door can have a video event with it. That can be if the door is opened using a credential, or if it's forced open, propped open, left open, you will get a video event for this as well so that you can investigate what happened. We'll go into depth in video management in another video. Next down is SIO2. So if you're using SIO2 to move the relay inside of the secure perimeter of the building, you would wire that to your entry reader using RS-485 cable, and you would select that device here. Next down is the relay. So this is the relay that should be used to open the door. As I mentioned before, this could be on the entry reader or the exit reader if you have an exit reader. And you can select which relay to use right here. The next button is relay ignoring door sensor. This forces the relay to ignore the door sensor. This is useful for troubleshooting if the door does not open properly or if you do not have a door sensor installed. Next is the exit button. If you have an exit button installed, you can select the port and the device that would be connected to. And you can, by default, this would be normally open, but you can also set it to normally closed. Next down is the door sensor. So if you have a door sensor, again, you can select the input port here. And once again, should the relay be normally open or normally closed? And finally, the open time. How long does the relay remain open? Is it 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds? 3 seconds is the default. This is, of course, useful in situations where you need to think about accessibility for people who are disabled. Or if you have an automatic opening door, you may wish to edit this setting. Once again, make sure to save any changes that you have made here so that they do get applied to your settings. If you cancel, the settings will not be saved. Now, let's go back and look at two other of the features that we didn't cover before. If you select a door or multiple doors, you can apply a schedule here. We will go into how to set up schedules in a separate video, but what you should understand here is that for schedules, you can set an unlock schedule or a lock schedule. Unlock schedule means that the door will be continuously unlocked during this scheduled time. Locked schedule means that the door will be continuously locked during this time. To set an unlock schedule, you select that tab, and you can select this schedule. And you can see I've selected Midnight Monday, which means that the door will be unlocked on Monday from 12 o'clock to 12:01 a.m. And if anyone walks up to the door at that time, they can just open it because it will be unlocked automatically. Now, for schedules to be applied and for schedules to work, the reader on the door does need to have an active internet connection. There's also another option here that says unlock after first authentication. This is very useful in an office or retail setting where you want the door to remain continuously unlocked during business hours, let's say from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., but you don't want it to unlock before anyone arrives in the office while it would be unattended. So in this case, if you turn this setting on, and let's set this to office hours, once the first person arrives in the office and uses their card to unlock the door, then it would be unlocked during this time period. So if they arrive at 7:15 a.m., then from 7:15 a.m. until 7 p.m., the door would be unlocked continuously unless that's overridden at some point. The door would lock automatically at 7 p.m. We do not recommend that you set an unlock schedule to always, as this would defeat the point of having an access control system in the first place. You also have the ability to set a lock schedule when doors would be continuously locked, and In this time, you would not be able to authenticate the reader using your card. The door would remain locked during this time. You also have the option here of creating schedules, and we will go in depth into this in a separate video. Finally, let's look at how to add a door. Adding a new door is just like editing an existing door, but you would add a completely new door, and let's call it new door. And then you can see the entry devices and exit devices that have not yet been assigned to another door in this screen. Now, when you are registering devices, and this is covered in another video, but when you are registering devices, you will have the option to automatically create a door. That's great in most cases because it saves you a step here. But if you're going to use a device as an exit device, for example, you wouldn't want to automatically create a door because you would want it to not appear in this list. You would want it to appear in this list rather than being already assigned to another door. Now, if you already have a device assigned to a door and you want to free it up so that it can be assigned on another door, select the device from this list, come up and click the delete button. That's a complete tour of the door management within Airfob Space, and we will cover door groups and device groups in the next video. Here's how you manage doors in the Airfob Pro app. Go to All menu, and then under Access Points, select Doors. Here you'll see a list of all the doors currently registered on your site. You can also see door groups and a filtered view of doors that are in a specific group. To edit doors, touch the door, and you can see all of the information, including the entry device, exit device, and any cameras that are connected. You can also connect an SiO2 if you have one on the reader. You can change door relay settings, exit button settings, and door sensor settings, and adjust the time that the relay remains open. Essentially, this allows you to do anything that you could do on the web version so that you can do a complete site setup using your phone instead of having to rely on a laptop as well. If you're going to add a new door, press the plus button at the top of the door menu. You can enter a name for the door, select an entry device, select an exit device, and select a camera if you have one connected. Both of the devices I just selected are non-relay devices, as this is just a demonstration, but you'd be able to select those as well, along with the exit button, door sensor, and open time on the door relay. Once again, this is just like setting up a door on the web, but in the palm of your hand.